Today, I'm going to be reviewing The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And why I think this particular financial book stands out from a lot of other books is that it is something that applies to the everyday average person. You don't have to want to be the next Bill Gates to get something from this book. It is very practical and it's something that is day to day. Now, the author starts by saying that financial success is actually about behavior. It's not about certain rules and certain stuff because most of the things that you find, most of the resources you find out there regarding financial success will lay down some rules that you have to follow strictly, but it's really not about that. And then he goes ahead to talk about getting wealthy and staying wealthy, which are two different things. Getting wealthy requires risk. You need to take risk to go into business, to do an investment, whatever it suits you best. But then staying wealthy is going to require humility. Because if you think about it, and he says so, the things that we really want, most times it's just because it's the respect that comes with it, the aura that comes with it. We want that, and we want other people to know that yeah, this is who we are. So it takes humility to be able to stay your hand in such situations. I really like this car, but I'm not going to get it because I cannot afford to. Not that you can't buy it, but you cannot comfortably buy it and still live like in very good means. So it's better to stay off it. So that is what we gear you towards staying wealthy. Now he also goes ahead to talk about freedom. Now, understanding money psychology is going to take you to a place of freedom, financial freedom. Now, that simply means that when I wake up, I decide this is what I want to do with my day. This is who I want to do it with. Being able to make that choice for yourself without, going crazy is actually freedom. And he talks about savings and investing. A lot of us save, but fewer people invest. Now, he also says you don't need a reason to save. For some people, they save because, I want to get a car, I want to buy land. Those are good reasons to save. But you also save just because, you never know what happens just because. And you want to be secure. You know that, okay, if anything should happen, I can do something. So you don't just save, you also invest because if you're saving, especially if it's naira, it is most likely that you're just letting your money go because the value will drop, and what you save at the beginning of the year will not be what you get at the end of the year. So you also invest. Now, in investing, you don't just invest in one thing, you spread your money across some things. Now, in that case, he says, tails you win. That has to do with the toss of a coin. Like when you toss a coin, usually they say you win when it hits. But in this case, tails you win. That implies that worst case scenario, the one out of the many is going to make up for the other ones that you may not gain so much. So some may bring up little, some may bring up nothing at all, some you may actually lose. But one of them, which is going to be your tails, will cause you to win the entire thing and you make a lot of profit from that. And so he also talks about being reasonable. There are certain rules in so many resources that we find. They set down strict rules for you to follow. You have to save a certain percent of your salary to be able to, gain financial freedom. But in real sense, you just have to be reasonable. Say I earn 80,000 euro per month, and I say, you know what, I need to save at least 20,000 euro each month. If that is my only source of income, it's not reasonable because I have to pay for food, I have to pay for transportation, I have to pay for rent or save up for rent. So it's really not reasonable. So you just have to be reasonable with your money. So you can make adjustments. Nobody like it's not cast in gold and the money is not going to say no if you decide to save less. So being reasonable is one of the things that should be top on the list. And then he also talks about you will change. The things that you found like you were so enthusiastic about 15 years ago may not be the same things that you're enthusiastic now about. And so you'll change, and that is fine. Now, understanding the psychology of money is going to help you take yourself out of situations like that. You may find out that the job that you really liked ended up like it's taking so much of your time and it's draining you, and you want to step away from it. Now, if you understand the psychology of money, you will be able to prep yourself to step away from jobs like that and get something that, even if it's lower paying, it gives you more fulfillment and it gives you the freedom that you desire. And then he also talks about the element of surprise, right? Like prepare for error, and then there is element of surprise. The thing is, you may not be 100%, which is why you have to prepare for error. Say you're making an investment and you start to calculate what is going to be the worst case scenario, right? What if I'm wrong and it doesn't sell at this price or this price? So you make adjustments for those things. And also to know that the world changes. A lot of things are going to happen that will affect the stock market if you are into that kind of investing in the stock market. Even if it's not the stock market, even if it's what my people call Agia, you buy agricultural products and resell them. Even if it's that, the market rises and falls, whichever market it is. There are so many factors that influence that. So you're going to have to prepare for surprise because anything can happen. And lastly, he says different strokes for different folks. Let me just say it that way. That is not every financial, like different people need different financial decisions. So it's not cast in iron, it's not cast in stone. You can read this book, pick up what works, and be on your merry way to financial freedom. I really, really recommend this one. You may not have liked any of the other ones, but this is a must because we deal with money every day. I think you should read it too.